Good morning. My name's Andy Derr, and I'm a member of the Stewardship Committee. As we begin, we would like to acknowledge that this service is being held by a community that gathers on the stolen traditional lands of the Massachusetts, Nipmuc, Pawtucket, and Wampanoag people. We pay respect to these indigenous peoples who lost their lives in the colonization of this land and recognize that these indigenous tribes are still today facing violations of sovereignty, territory, and water. We also give thanks for the earth we walk upon, the waters, the life-giving plants, and all the earth's creatures, as well as the wind, sun, moon, and stars. We recognize that this is just a first step in moving towards right relationships with the native peoples and the healing of the earth. Good morning and welcome to First Parish Church of Stowe and Acton, a welcoming and spiritual community. My name is Andy Derr, and I'm a member of the Stewardship Committee. For those visiting FPC for the first time, sorry, my glasses are not cooperating here. We welcome you. Please let us know that you're here by filling out one of our visitor information cards in the pews and hand it to an usher, or drop it in the plate, or hand it to Meg, that's Meg right back there in the center, our welcoming staff member. If you would like a large print order of service or an assisted listening device, please ask the ushers. Anyone is welcome to use one of these to listen to the service from another space or around our building. After the service, please join us for coffee and conversation in our fellowship hall, which is one level down at the other end of the building, down that way. Or in a breakout room if you're joining us online. I'd like to draw your attention to the announcements in our order of service and also invite you to check our webpage for more information. And you can sign up there for our newsletter and email alerts. And now, let us come together for a time of community singing and worship. Do you want me to read that one?
Sure, yeah.
Our sanctuary storm windows have been installed. and should keep us comfortable this winter, much warmer this winter, with no drafts and lower electricity bills. Please join the Climate Change Task Force at coffee hour to celebrate this accomplishment and learn about our next steps.
I put in the order of service net zero update because I thought you wanted to say more than that, but at all? That's it. That was the fastest order of service item ever. I also wanted to make a quick announcement that next Sunday, we're having a very special ethnic bread heritage celebration. You are all invited to bring bread for our service this year as we celebrate with gratitude our heritage and our humanity. And so you're invited to bring bread that represents your ethnic identity. So we might, in our family, bring Irish soda bread representing Peter's Irish roots, or we might bring gluten-free cornbread representing my Southern roots. So please feel free to bring bread and make it nut-free, all of them. And if you bring gluten-free bread, we'll have a separate table that the gluten-free breads will all go on, and then we will all break bread together. So please join us for that service. It's going to be yummy and fun. And now let us come together again in the spirit of worship. Our opening words are by Meg Barnhouse, titled The Beauty of the Whole. We gather together to worship, our hearts alive with hope that here we will be truly seen, that here we will be welcomed into the garden of this community, where the simple and elegant, the fluted and frilled, the shy and the dramatic complement one another and are treasured. May we know that here each contributes in their way to the beauty of the whole. Come, let us worship together, all genders, sexualities, politics, clappers and non-clappers, progressive or conservative. May we root ourselves in the values of this faith: compassion and courage, transcendence, justice, and transformation, and love. Our chalice lighting words are by Maureen Kilran. Chris, yes, please light our chalice for us. She writes, "The poet Langston Hughes has written, 'Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken-winged bird that cannot fly.' May this chalice flame challenge each of us to cherish our dreams, for all things worth doing begin in the courage and aspiration of a dream." Please join now and rise in body or in spirit and join in singing Gather the Spirit, number 347.
So
Okay. Please join me in our covenant. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Good morning again. I'm Andy Derr. I've been a member of the Not on?
Nope, you're on. You're
Okay.
good.
I've been a member of FPC. I'm sorry. I'm a member of the Stewardship Committee. I've been a member of FPC for a couple of years. Before that, I was a member of All Souls Congregation in New London for 30 years, where, among other things, I was on the Stewardship Committee. Today we're beginning FPC's annual stewardship campaign for the next fiscal year, which begins on July 1st, 2024. Each year we ask ourselves to reaffirm our individual financial commitments to FPC. Now, wouldn't it be great if we didn't have to worry about money at FPC? But just like our home families, at our FPC family, we need a regular infusion of cash to make things work. FPC is a self-sustaining congregation that relies on the generosity of its members and friends for about 70% of our annual budget. Our goal, as always, is 100% member participation in pledging. Everybody. We want everybody to pledge. We also welcome pledges from FPC friends. For the next fiscal years, our Board of Trustees will present a budget that will deepen our commitment to our children and youth through strong RE programming, strengthen our music, art, and worship, support development opportunities for our staff, sustain our ministries and our wide spectrum of programs, and broaden FPC's involvement in the greater community and the world. We've all seen costs rising significantly in the past years through inflation, and FPC is not immune to that inflation. And next year's budgets will likely be at least 5% higher than it is today. We know that some people in the church community may not be able to make a pledge increase this year, but some of us may be able to make larger increases. This morning, we're happy to report that most of the Board of Trustees and Stewardship team have already made their pledges. They're leading by example and have increased their combined pledges, but I don't actually have that figured. Rick, do we have the figure of what that is? 6%? Okay. So please join our stewardship campaign today and pledge online during today's service. You can do it on your phone right now. You'll find a URL and a QR code for pledging in today's order of service, and you can fill out the pledge form included in the order of service, or request a face-to-face meeting with a member of the Stewardship Committee or the Board of Trustees to discuss your pledge. So let's do an online pledging dry run right now. Go ahead, take out your phones. It's accepted now. It's all right. And click on the QR code that's in the order of service or enter FPC-stowe-acton.org/pledge. And that should take you to our online pledging page. A majority of our members make their pledges online. It's easy, secure, and user-friendly. I know, I've done it. It was a very, very user-friendly. As I speak to someone who grumps a lot at web pages. We're asking everyone to make a pledge today, if possible, or during the coming week. But in any case, by December 20th. Remember, our goal is 100% participation in the stewardship campaign, and be sure to track our progress on our participation thermometer as it gets closer to 100% in the coming weeks. I think that'll be in the weekly announcements, and we probably have in Fellowship Hall a virtual, a non-virtual one. So thank you in advance for your generosity to FPC.
Good morning. I would like to invite our children and our youth and anyone else who would like to join me up front to come up front at this time.
Let us light one last candle, if we have one there, for those joys and sorrows that are left unspoken, that they too are lifted up in beloved community. At this time of year, with it being Veterans Day yesterday, and this weekend being a weekend of remembrance for those who have served, we want to also lift up the pain and sorrow of a world very much not at peace right now. Prayers for those who do serve, prayers that we can find ways, paths to end all conflict, to find peace in this world. Prayers for the bombing in Gaza to stop. Prayers for Ukraine. I want to share these words of prayer by Jane Maudlin, Monarchs and Mysteries. She says, I am frequently astonished by the monarch butterflies. Delicate beyond belief, they fly thousands of miles each year from all parts of the continent to settle in the forests of South America. To my delight, their migratory route takes them along a bridge near my home. A few days ago, I was driving on this bridge during their annual display of fragility and strength. As my car whipped by at over 60 miles per hour, the tiny creatures were tossed haphazardly in the wind. Yet I knew there was a continual southward purpose to their struggle. Much as I admired these fragile butterflies, I could not avoid hitting several of them. While orange wings smashed into my windshield, I remembered a chilling science fiction story I had read as a child. A man of the near future travels back in time to the age of dinosaurs to sightsee in that area. Despite the tour guide's warnings, he leaves the path in his excitement, and while in the underbrush, steps on and kills one tiny, fragile butterfly. When he returns to his own time, the world is horribly different. People are much crueler, and an international fascist government now rules. The death of one butterfly in the distant past has changed all of world history. As I travel the many miles of the bridge during the annual monarch butterfly migration, I wonder if I am wreaking any changes in the world to come. What effects do my words and deeds, both on the bridge and off, make in the environment and surely in the human world? Surely they do make a difference. Our kindness affects lives we will never see. Our cruelty casts ripples that may drown strangers. Whether smashing butterflies or helping a friend, our actions will echo throughout history. We will not always know the ramifications of our deeds, but they are there. We are surely connected, one to another, each of us in the great world of monarchs and mystery. Blessed be, and amen. Please rise now in body or in spirit and join in singing Spirit of Life, number 123. So some of you have already participated in this this week as I shared the links online, and some of you haven't, and there's a chance again to now to answer this question. What at FPC in the past or present has been positive for you? What do you love about FPC? And there's a URL here, slido.com, and a link, insert number or a QR code, which is also in your order of service for you to scan. Now, in saying we welcome diversity at this church, we welcome Luddites alike. And if you are someone for whom QR codes are not a natural habitat, we invite you to turn to a neighbor, and neighbors for whom QR codes are like, oh yeah, that makes it all easy. Help your neighbors, and so that you together, if you weren't able to answer these questions online, you can answer these questions now. If you're sitting in a pocket, that's okay to get up and move around for a moment too. Or raise your hand and someone can come to you. You can keep entering, and these words will change as they grow and morph as people insert things. But let me share some of the ones that are already up there. Let me share some of the words that are already up there. Community, social justice, music, religious education. Anyone surprised to see those words pop to the front? No. Caring community also has a few. I see volunteering, friends, drag bingo, the apple pies with an exclamation point. So that one only got one vote because other people who said apple pies maybe didn't put an exclamation point. That'll be a thing here. If you word yours differently, it'll be smaller because it didn't get as many people wording it the same weird way. Parties, spirituality, sermons. Thank you for saying sermons, whoever one person said that. members, purpose, climate education, love, reflection, inclusivity, worship, singing in the choir. All God's critters got a voice in the choir. It was no surprise to me as I saw the preliminary results of our word cloud coming through in the last few days. Intimacy and ultimacy, the theologian James Luther Adams called it. The idea that we are all looking for at our core, intimacy, the connection to other people, community, and ultimacy, the search for truth, the search for God, the universe, that which is ultimate meaning in life. James Luther Adams would go on to explain that this is something we can look for personally or through our social institutions, intimacy and ultimacy. And that's what shows up first, of course, when we look at what we love about this church, First Parish Church. It's all about the intimacy. It's singing together. It's community. It's religious education. It's programs like the Halloween party and Christmas story telling and cookie exchange and baking apple pies together and selling beer. We love the points of connection in this church, from Saturday morning breakfast to book groups to playing bridge to gathering together at the gazebo to just coffee hour where we connect. All of those things are what makes FPC vital and engaged and full of connection for people. And for those newer to this community, I invite you to talk with me or Meg or anyone else here you want to about ways that you can connect, because there are small groups galore and programs and connections to be made. And ultimacy, that's why we do it at church, not just at the senior center or the library or through meetups. We come here also for a connection to the ultimate. And that's where being part of an institution that stretches backwards through history and plastic windows and forward through time, being part of an institution that just dedicated its new memorial garden that has new storm windows. That is what we'll be honoring in our heritages next week. It's a different way of breaking bread together. That's why being part of a church institution matters, because it brings us in a connection to the ultimate. We light the chalice and we connect to something larger. We do it through prayer and song as well. And through some of those intimate connections, like small group ministry and meditation, which we have a connection to the ultimate as well, to something larger than ourselves. Today, we're also talking about money, because all of those things we did in our past and doing in our present, we funded them. We made them possible through generosity. The generosity of this church is everything that it is. We built the sanctuary, the annex, the fellowship hall, the connector, all through the generosity of this church and its members, who they were then. We fund the music and the religious education through the generosity of ourselves and in the past through our ancestors and our roots. Now, there are a lot of jokes about churches and money. There's the one about the different bills talking about their experiences, and the $100 bill talks about he gets to go to nice restaurants and the opera. And the $50 bill talks about how she shops at the really nice stores. And even the $10 bill says he sometimes gets to go to the movies, sometimes not. And the $1 bill says, I haven't been anywhere but church in years. There's also the joke that Catholics would rather have root canal than talk about sex, but they're comfortable talking about money. UUs, on the other hand, we're pretty comfortable talking about sex. The next joke has a couple, Joe and June, we'll call them, who were on a planning trip to the Caribbean. The pilot came on and told them that they would have to land soon because of mechanical difficulties, and the only airstrip was on a deserted island. Joe looks at June and says, did we tell the kids where we're going? No. Did we stop the paper? Yes. June looks at Joe and says, did you pay the church pledge? And Joe says, no. And June breathes a sigh of relief and says, oh, then the preacher will surely find us. If you examine these jokes, they all hinge on the idea that church is always asking for money, that people don't give very much to the church, and that we don't want to talk about it. But the truth is much more complicated than this. This church is actually a church that is very generous in spirit. So these don't hold true here. My understanding is that money is a spiritual issue, as a faith stance, as a justice stance, as a vehicle through which we express our values in the world, and we do. We've put money into this church in making it achieve its net zero goals, and we'll do more so in the future until we get there. Our memorial garden dedication last week is a perfect example of putting our money into something we value spiritually, and how doing so can be a spiritual exercise. My hope is that you pledge to this church because you feel you want this church and you deserve it. You want the things it offers you and it feeds you spiritually. So you're giving because you're getting, and it's feeding your soul. I hope that this church is a way you treat yourself. You treat yourself to a time of relaxation, or a time of invigoration, a time of intimacy, a time of ultimacy. Let this church be something you support because it supports you. It gives you the tools or the knowledge or opportunities to express yourself, or just to feel whole and welcome in a safe space. What we spend our money on reflects our values. Beyond the necessities, we may spend money for vacation, for entertainment, for relaxation, for a spa treatment, for a beauty enhancement, or to spruce up our houses. All these things are things we value, and we give according to our desire for them. And all of what we accomplished with this church just this year, let's say just this church year, what we've accomplished with this staff, this budget, this membership, this building, are all because of money. We've accomplished what? A beer fest, an open mic night, a coffee house concert, a Halloween party, a worship with Catherine Denny, a worship with Joe Jenks, with the Marlboro Hudson Church joining us, religious education classes, youth group experiences, Club UU, free apples Friday night at guest table, apple pies to sell in the fall. What? Did I forget something amazing that you've loved this year? You bet I did. Was it dedicating a memorial garden? Was it choir? Was it playing bridge, games, hanging out at the gazebo? Was it new windows? Was it the whole summer? What else?
Your sermon.
My sermons! So much we've done. Our new staff keeps saying to me over and over again, this church is so busy. My gosh, this church is so busy. I could keep going, and we're only a few months in, and we accomplished all of the little things that keep this church running, from ushers and greeters and coffee hour posts, to filling the pulpit every week, to our classrooms every week, and keeping the lawn and building cared for. We did all this and so much more. You are amazing, friends. You are amazing. And you are this church's support, its strength, its roots, its nurturance. Thank you for your dedication. May you find intimacy and ultimacy here, and may it be a source of strength for you. Another thing we do, we share our plate. Our plate is shared with the food project this month. More about it and how it shares its strength and its food with other people as in your order of service. And please give generously as you're able.
As the choir is coming up, I wanted to introduce our anthem a little bit. The words, as printed in your leaflet, we're just going to do the first two lines. Be the change you want to see in the world, and change will come to you. And we're going to sing this a number of times, about 5. The last time, you'll have heard this a number of times. I invite you to join us. So I'll turn around, and you're welcome to join us in singing at the end. Thank you.
Change you want to
So our second poll, as the choir gets their seats, are what are you looking forward to in the near or distant future at FPC? Now, if you were not able to answer the first poll, raise your hands so people who know how to do this can come to you and get your voices heard in the second poll. I don't see any hands up. Y'all got your voices heard if you felt like you needed to, or you're content with letting other people's voices be heard. I see a couple hands in the back here. If folks can help those folks out, that would be great. Lay ministers. I'll see if I can add that for you. Lay ministers. Another one you want to toss out to me? All right, I can extend. Any other responses you want added? Shout them out if you do. So look what's at the center again. What? That's what we're looking forward to in the future, again, is community? And social justice and music and religious education and growing connections and net zero? That's wonderful, because we plan to do those things. It's also apparently what draws you to the church for the future is intimacy and ultimacy. Now, there are some great new upcoming things there too. Are you looking forward to Christmas Eve? I am too. OWL, that starts off in January. For those of you who don't know, OWL is Our Whole Lives, a sexuality education curriculum that we put on for 7th to 9th graders, although there are levels of it for other ages as well that could be offered in the future. What else? Piano, bread. Oh, you're already looking forward to the bread next week? And I see some new ideas too. Gentle senior exercise. Weekend workshops. Maintaining the facilities, potlucks. Oh, it would be a good for us to return to more potlucks, folks. Yes, that would be a good thing to re-engage in our future. Rowing, smiles, fun, sharing. I also think I saw a festival up there. I don't know what kind of festival you mean, but I am all in for that. I love festivals. I don't know if you know it, but I'm a Renaissance Festival addict. And I've been to Renaissance festivals in Michigan, Georgia, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Idaho, New York, Connecticut, Texas. Where else? The Czech Republic. Or no, it wasn't Czech Republic. It was Slovakia and California. Did we go to one in California? Maybe. And of course, Massachusetts. Yes. So if you want to do that here in Stowe, I'm totally up for it. And any other kind of festival, art festival as well. I also saw some things I know you're looking forward to this year, like our annual Ferry Beach trip and continuing on our path to net zero, and some ideas for more programming that you're excited about. One of the things that excites me is I see a commitment to justice, both in our past and in our present and in our future. I've been talking about different spiritual paths all year, all fall, and I haven't gotten to the one about works and justice, but it's coming. Because, of course, justice isn't the opposite of spirituality, is it? No, it's very much part of it. And when I think about what I want for our future, I want peace. I want Palestinian freedom. I want Russia out of the Ukraine. I want this church at net zero and pushing back against climate change around the world. I want freedom for our trans members here across this country and globe, and freedom of speech and freedom of bodies and freedom of choice and freedom from harm to reign. My faith is ultimately grounded in the language of the theologian before politician, Cornel West, when he talks about the difference between optimism and hope, how we have to keep on hoping even when it doesn't look good, even when there's no cause for optimism, and that keeps us striving. I balance that with the words of Martin Luther King Jr., who got the concept of the arc of justice from Unitarian minister Theodore Parker. Theodore Parker said, "I do not pretend to understand the moral universe. The arc is a long one. My eye reaches but a little ways. I cannot calculate the curve and complete the figure by the experience of sight. I can divine it by conscience, but from what I see, I'm sure it bends towards justice." Martin Luther King put that much more succinctly. But what is it saying to me? Twofold. One, it's saying the obvious thing. The arc of the universe is bending towards justice, that the world and universe are improving even when it doesn't look like it, even when we can't see it. That's faith. That's a faith statement to me right there. It's what gives me wings to fly. But secondly, scratch a little, and you see that the arc of the universe itself, God, the ground of all being, everything bends towards what? Not love, hope, faith, justice. That's my faith there, the faith that everything is ultimately oriented in that direction. Life, the universe, and everything. This church, we are bending towards justice. And sometimes it's not going to feel that way because we're celebrating Christmas Eve, or we're doing choir, or we're, having just breakfast together, a potluck, we're playing board games. But even when we don't see it, we're bending towards justice. It's in our community, it's in our connection, it's in the way we are with one another, it's in our roots as Unitarian Universalists, and every chance that our faith had, it took the opportunity to open the doors wider, to open the doors to theists, to atheists, to pagans, to open the door to fight for abolition, to suffrage, to civil rights, women's rights, gay rights, trans rights. How much more can we do together, folks? How much more can we become? What heights can we soar to as a church, as a people, as a faith? If we meet our pledge goals, we can accomplish even more with our amazing and strong fellowship of members and supporters. We can continue to take our faith out into the world. We can continue to create services to inspire us to greater depth of understanding. We can continue to grow in spirit and in vision. So we talked about money today, but this isn't about money. It's about creating something larger than the net worth of our property here. It's about creating lasting and vibrant, what? Community. Community. It's about creating community. It's about creating our hope towards the future while honoring our past. It's about our roots and about our wings. It's about you, your dreams, your hopes for our future. And you deserve it. Everything that we are here and everything that we can be. The future, the sky, it's open wide. May it be so. Our closing hymn is number 1028, The Fire of Commitment. Please stand in body or in spirit and join us singing.
Our
word, I started crying during the hymn. You have never sung that so well. Chris, you are absolutely right. Then we put the words up there, they sing better. It's blowing me away. Whew. Our closing words are by Susan Carlson. We leave blessed by our connections to one another, to the spirit of life. Walk lightly, that you see the life that is below your feet. Spread your arms as if you had wings and could dance through the air. Feel the joy of the breath in your lungs and the fire in your heart. Live to love and be a blessing on this earth. Blessed be. Amen. Please join in our closing song.
Stay